Good morning, day 64 of the 75-day challenge. A much nicer day today. Definitely putting me in a better mood, that's for sure. I have to say that on today's walk, I probably had one of the strongest visions of my future self that I've ever had. So that was really amazing. Definitely some deep visualization going on, so that was awesome. Definitely the clearest I've ever seen it. So that is day 64. Day 64 of the 75-day challenge, chapter 4, lesson 51 of The Wealthy Gardener. Okay, let's get into it. This is called impact statistics, and something that I think is so incredibly important, something that I'm still personally figuring out myself, but I've already seen the difference that doing something like this makes. So definitely a great lesson to pay attention to. Okay, so it says, wealth is built on results, reflected the wealthy gardener, and it grows from steady impact that can be measured in the passing days. The wealthy gardener nodded. We see that people can work identical hours with vastly different results. Busy is normal, but impact is rare. Work results is a subject we'll need to discuss in the classroom, and he's talking to one of his students, Jimmy. We only have so many hours in a day, said the wealthy gardener. Without objective measures, we are like my players who believed hustle was their only goal. And he's referring to a basketball team that he coached. Our impact is the goal. Many adults never grasp the difference between hustling versus contributing. Statistics clarify it. In all pursuits, there are vital activities that produce winning results. These are the objectives of work. We must focus on impact statistics to direct our work on the winning. Impact statistics are inputs that advance a successful outcome. Wealth arises from consistent, result-producing efforts that can be measured. These impact activities can be tracked in hours, while other inputs are best tracked by tasks completed. We track our impact statistics to focus our exertions and to separate everyday hustle from the key hustle that wins the game. If we rely on memory alone, we're all superheroes of effort. But if we keep track of impact statistics, we will often see a truer reality of our efforts. Nothing is easier than self-deceit. How can we identify impact activities of our daily work will contribute most to winning the game? Ask yourself one question, and this is important. If you could offer only 2 hours a day for a critical work outcome, which task would fill this limited time? This question with an imaginary time constraint forces deeper clarity. A second question may help with clarity as well. Which activities, if not performed today, would allow for the worst consequences? Which two impact statistics are most vital to winning the game? So really important. So the first one, just to kind of reiterate, was if you could offer only 2 hours a day for a critical work outcome, which task would fill that limited time? And the second one was which activities, if they were not performed today, would allow for the worst consequences. And you know what? What I've noticed is that this is usually the stuff that is harder to do, the things that you kind of have resistance towards oftentimes. And that's why you kind of don't get them done as urgently as you should. And it kind of goes back to the whole eat the frog first thing. I think it was Brian Tracy who said that, where you really want to tackle these things first and foremost because they have the most result producing power. And so it's so important to track exactly what that stuff is rather than just putting in a lot of work on the day-to-day, which I think is something very common when you're doing Turo. You think that, every single day you're working so much because you're constantly flipping through these rentals that are occurring. but it doesn't necessarily mean that those are your most impact driven activities. And that's why recently I shifted my schedule and really started waking up so much earlier, around 5:30 a.m., was so that I could really carve out hours, uninterrupted hours in the beginning of my day to really focus on the things that I think would drive the most results for me financially. And those activities are actually not doing rentals on a day-to-day basis. So that's been a really interesting finding for myself, and that's kind of how I've tackled it to carve out the time that I need for that, is by waking up early and giving myself more hours in the day. Okay, I'll continue on. Being busy means doing stuff. Being productive means getting stuff done. Being effective means getting the most important stuff done. When we track tasks that produce critical results, we shed light on the real contribution of the work hours in our weekly schedules. Follow effective actions with quiet reflection, said Peter Drucker. From the quiet reflection will come even more effective actions. I found that financial freedom required a lot of hustle, directed by vital impact statistics. The life lesson: impact statistics. I learned that busy is normal, but impact is rare, and results skyrocket by tracking impact statistics. I liked one of the things that he mentioned in here that I didn't actually read because it was a little bit long for today's video, but he talked about how when he worked as a chiropractor, he actually started tracking his hours because there were some tasks that were more important and more effective to his bottom line than others, and it would usually take him a lot longer because he was doing a bunch of other stuff in between. And so he started tracking his hours to really see where his time was going, and that's something that I'm definitely gonna try to do starting tomorrow. Is I'm going to track my hours and really get a realistic, like in the reality of things, picture of exactly where my time goes, because again, like it said, nothing is easier than self-deceit, and we're all superheroes of effort. Of course, at the end of every day, when I've had a long day and I'm tired and I know I did a lot that day, I feel like, wow, I did a lot, I was productive, I got a lot done. But it doesn't necessarily mean that all the things you did were the things that were the impact activities, the things that make the most difference. And sometimes those are the very items that get left off the list because they're the hardest to do. So this was really a really interesting chapter that definitely was thought-provoking and is going to inspire some action on my end, and hopefully it does for you guys as well. So I'm definitely going to do this little experiment and track my hours and really see what it is that I allocate my time to throughout the day, and then think about what my most effective impact activities need to be, and then redirect my time and my schedule to focus on that. So really good chapter. This again is The Wealthy Gardener by John Sperrick. Link is in the description down below, as well as a link to the 75-day challenge. So that is the end of day 64. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Stay safe, stay healthy. Take care. Bye, guys.